an important part of Macbeth, which was the opening scene in which we have found the three witches meeting on a heath, on an open place, and are fixing their next meeting with Macbeth when the battle is lost and won. So today we shall come to that point where the first meeting between the witches and the Macbeth take place. But before that, we have another scene which has taken place in between these two appearances of the witches. Uh, this is Act 1, Scene 2, in which we have the report of the battle going on by means of through the mouth of a messenger, a bleedy captain, and then from a General Ross. So that scene was necessary in order to tell us about the outcome of the battle, and secondly, to present to us the character of the hero, the character of the protagonist, before the protagonist himself appears on the stage. So, in that particular scene, that is Act 1, Scene 2, we come to know about a hideous battle, a troublesome battle going on, and Macbeth and Banquo both play a vital role and a courageous part in that battle. First, the traitor MacDonald is slain in the battle, and then Macbeth and Banquo face the Norwegian king, who, with the support of the Thane of Cawdor, wages a fresh battle with a large number of soldiers. And the two armies face each other in a gruesome battle in which Macbeth shows a great valor, a tremendous courage and loyalty for his king. And ultimately, his valor helps them to win the battle. Now, this scene was necessary to present Macbeth in a good light. Macbeth, in this scene, as he is presented, is a brave captain, a brave general, and he also shows his loyalty to the king in the face of in front of danger. So from the very beginning, Shakespeare shows us a man who has not yet been corrupted, who is a brave man, who is a hero, who is worthy to be a hero of this tragedy, and who is presented in a way so that we have high expectation for this from this man. Banquo is mentioned, but Banquo is rather shown in as a colleague, as a general who is in the second position, or in, you can say, the helping hand to Macbeth. Now we come to know about the outcome of the battle, that the battle is won by Macbeth. So, as the witches predicted, and as it was their prediction, and as it was their plan to bring their prophecy of the future to Macbeth at a time when Macbeth is fresh from his victory, in when Macbeth's ambition is in the most serpent condition. So we now come to that point where Macbeth and Banquo are coming back from the battlefield and where they meet the witches in a heath as it was pre-planned by the witches in the opening scene. Uh, that is in Act 1, Scene 3, and that Scene 3 begins with uh, Scene 3 begins with a description of the witches, what they do, what is their pleasure, and we come to know that they trouble human beings in order to please themselves. That is their favorite pastime. They always lurk in the darkness to bring or to make people disturbed, to make people fall in troubles, and they derive pleasure from the suffering of the people, suffering of human beings. So, what is foul to human beings are fair to them. So, that's what they are discussing, how they have troubled various persons in the opening or in the first part of this scene. Then the most vital part comes where the first meeting between Macbeth and Banquo with the witches take place. Now, I am coming to that point. That is in Act 1, Scene 3, line number 38 or 39. The first dialogue of Macbeth, or the first utterance, is "So foul and fair a day I have not seen." And that is very significant because the very first words of the protagonist link him at once with the words of the witches who said that fair is foul and foul is fair. So, as if Shakespeare has used this line in order to show the audience from the very beginning the bond that exists between Macbeth and the witches. Remember, Macbeth is not yet corrupted. He is still a brave and loyal general, but there is a suggestion, a hint that is given by the dramatist that the person, the protagonist, utters the words which are related to the words uttered by the witches in the very opening scene. So they had said that fair is foul and foul is fair, and Macbeth says, "Show foul and fair a day I have not seen." Now, practically, the meaning of this utterance is that they have fought a dangerous battle, so it was a foul day for them, but they have won. They are victorious, so naturally, it's a fair day too. So he says, "So foul and fair a day I have not seen." At the same time, he is referring to the weather, the surroundings, the background, because this is a heath, and the witches. I told you that the witches always appear with the negative, the violent aspects of nature, with thunder and lightning. So Macbeth is also referring to that. It's a foul day. Banquo says in response, "How far is it called to Forres?" Forres is the castle where the king is now stationed and where they are going. So, how far is it called to Forres? Then Banquo first notices the three witches, the weird sisters. He says, "What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it." So you can understand that from the very beginning, Banco questions the uh, witches, the very presence of the witches, which seems to him very mysterious and uncanny. He says, "What are these? So withered." Withered means shrunken, and so wild in their attire. Uh, Wild means disordered. They have disordered appearance and clothes. So who are these? That look not like the inhabitants of the earth. So they are not from this earth. Banco's first reaction or first apprehension is that they are not of this earth. They are not earthly. They are ghostly, supernatural. So they look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it. So why are they on it? We know that the ghosts appear to harm human beings. So Banco from the very beginning questions the presence of the witches. Live you? Are you alive? Or are you ought? Ought means anything else. So are you alive or are you dead? Um, that man may question. Are you anything else that man may question? You seem to understand me. So they are quite, they quite understand what Banco is saying. But each one at once a choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. But they are not talking to Banco. They are putting their fingers on their lips. There is a reason behind that. Just before meeting Macbeth and Banco, they have wound up a charm. You can see that in the, just before the entrance of Macbeth and Banco, you can see that they say, "Thrice to thine and thrice to mine and thrice again to make up nine. Peace, the charms wound up." So they have created a charm, a magical charm, in order to seduce Macbeth. So they are not going to waste that charm on Banco. So they say, they are not saying a word, they are not talking to Banco. They are putting their fingers on their lips in order to be silent. So, but by each at once, her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips, "You should be women, and yet your beard forbid me to interpret that you are so." So Banco says that you look like women from your attire and your appearance, but you have beards. So you are you look to some extent an in between. Yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so. So I am not. I can't call you women properly. Also, then Macbeth says, "Speak if you can. What are you?" And very interestingly, at once they speak to Macbeth. Just when Macbeth demands an answer from them, they start talking. First it says, "All hail, Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis." Yes, Macbeth is the Thane of Glamis at that moment. Second which says, "All hail, Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor." And third which says, "All hail, Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter." So just look at how they are sharpening his ambition step by step. The first which, "Hail Macbeth," by uh, by the title that he already has, Thane of Glamis. The second which hails him with the title that he has not yet achieved, but which he will achieve very soon. That is Thane of Cawdor. So they know, they have the foreknowledge that Macbeth will soon become the Thane of Cawdor, because that Thane of Cawdor, who was a traitor, who fought against the king of Scotland, Duncan, was to be executed, and Macbeth will take his place or will be given his place. They knew that. So the second which says, all hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. And the third which says, all hail Macbeth, that shall be king hereafter. Now, there is another piece of prophecy that was very fatal, because that prophecy is the cause of the tomb, the downfall of Macbeth. Macbeth hitherto still now doesn't know that he is the Thane of Cawdor, but soon afterwards he will come to know that. And they are also calling him the king hereafter, so naturally Macbeth will take it for granted that he will become the king. So you can understand that how they are seducing the man, how they are giving him future hopes in order to trap him, in order to corrupt him. And just look at Macbeth's reaction, because that reaction is not shown, but I mean, not we cannot see to that when we are reading the text, but we can understand what is his reaction by the words that Banquo speaks. Banquo says, "Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fear?" So Macbeth is shocked. He is at once startled, and Banquo notices that. He says, "Good sir, why do you start? Make sudden movement from a movement as if you are surprised, shocked. In the name of truth, and seem to fear things that do sound so fair." So they have said fair words, but you seem to be afraid to hear these. Why? Because Macbeth has already inside the ambition to become the king. And when something is inside which we are keeping in secret, that comes out. That when somebody tells us about that face to face, then we are startled, we are shocked, because what we are thinking secretly is coming out. So Macbeth is shocked and doesn't say a word. Banquo says, and now he addresses to the witches, "In the name of truth, are you fantastical? Or that indeed which outwardly you show? So are you our imagination? Do we imagine you, or you are indeed present, and what we are seeing are actually what you show? My noble partner, you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems wrapped withal." So you are addressing my partner with present title, with great prediction of noble having in future, and also you give him the royal hope, that is hope to be the king. And he seems wrapped, he seems completely engrossed with the and completely absorbed with the news. To me you speak not, but you are not saying a word to me. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate. So Banquo says that if you can look into the future, if you can say that which seed will grow into a tree and which will not, then make some predictions for me too. Though I neither beg your favors nor fear your hate. And now the witches start speaking to him. First witch says hail, second witch says hail, and the third witch says hail. Hail, Hail, hail means welcome. But that is also a pun on hell, Hell. Okay, they are here to put these persons to the path of hell, to show him the way towards damnation. So naturally, they at once hail, that is, greet them, and also make a pun on Hell. So, what does the first witch say to Banquo? Lesser than Macbeth and greater. You will be less than Macbeth and yet greater. So these are enigmatic languages. These are languages which uh, actually mean something else. So lesser than Macbeth and greater. Second witch says, not so happy, yet much happier. And the third witch says, thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. That's the blow. So you cannot be as great as Macbeth, yet you will be greater. How? This means that you cannot become king. So you cannot be as great as Macbeth, but you will be greater. That means you will be morally greater, which we shall come to know at the end of the play, or when the actions reveal themselves. So lesser than Macbeth and greater, you will be morally greater. Second witch says, not so happy yet much happier. You will not be as happy as Macbeth to become the king of Scotland, but you will be much happier because you will be spared the pains, the anxiety, the sorrows, and the sufferings that Macbeth will get in future. So you will be not so happy practically, but much happier in a different plane of things. Thou shalt get kings. Your future generations will be the kings of Scotland, though thou be none. You cannot be a king. That's a blow to Macbeth. And this prophecy is the cause of Banquo's murder. Because Macbeth is also there. Macbeth knows. Macbeth understands that he may become the king, but he cannot be the forefather of a line of kings because there is Banquo in the background always. And Banquo is given the prophecy that his future generations will become kings. So Banquo is an obstacle in the path of Macbeth, at least in the path of the future generations of Macbeth. So Macbeth from here on treats Banquo not as a partner, but a block on his way. So the witches say, so all hail Macbeth and Banquo. First witch says, Banquo and Macbeth all hail. So just look at the reversal of the order. First Macbeth and Banquo, then Banquo and Macbeth. So they are reversing the order in which their names are uttered. Because of that reason, one is great, the other is greater. So first Macbeth will be great, he will become the king, Banquo will not be the king. So first Macbeth and Banquo, but Banquo and Macbeth again, because Banquo will be morally superior to Macbeth. Now Macbeth speaks after a long time. Before this, we have only a few lines, one or two lines in the lips of Macbeth. Now there is a whole stanza. Macbeth says, and what does he say? Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. So imperfect speakers means incomplete. Whatever you say, whatever predictions you give are incomplete. You don't give us the full picture. And the witches will not give that because it's how they trap people. They don't give the full picture. They give incomplete prophecies. That is their way to uh, trap or to uh, put people in the path of corruption and damnation. That is their way to tempt people. They are here to tempt both Macbeth and Banquo, and this they do by means of their incomplete prophecies. So Macbeth says, "Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more." He wants to know more. Yes, he has to know more because he wants to know by which means he can become the king. His ambition is already tempted. So tell me more. By Sinel's death, I know that I am thin of blemish. Yes, by my father's death, Sinel is the name of Macbeth's father. By my father's death, I come to know that yes, I have become the thin of blemish. But how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman. So Macbeth says that there is already a Thane of Cawdor. How can I become the Thane of Cawdor? And to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. And it is impossible to believe that I will become the king. How can I be the king when Duncan is there and his sons are there? Say, from whence you owe this strange intelligence? So where from do you get this mysterious knowledge about my future? Or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting? So why are you here on this blasted heath, on this uninhabited place, to give us such prophecies? What is your intention? So Macbeth is there very right to question their intention, because their intention is not at all good. Fair is foul and foul is fair to them. So they are here to tempt Macbeth and to show him the path of damnation, to show him the way to hell. But though Macbeth questions his intention, he is bound by his overambition, which is his tragic flaw. So, speak, I charge you, Macbeth says, and the witches vanish. So, this is what happens. When Macbeth wants to know more, they vanish because they don't want to tell him anymore. They have given him mysterious prophecies and they want him to work on that. They are instruments of evil. They cannot, they have the foreknowledge of what is going to happen in future, but they leave it on the free will of the person. How that person will work out his way, that they have sown. So Banquo says, the earth hath bubbles, and as the water has, and these are of them. So Banquo says that just as water has bubbles, and those bubbles burst when they come to the surface of the water, similarly, these witches seem to be the bubble of the earth. Whither are they vanished? Macbeth says, into the air. They have vanished into the air, just like bubbles. And what seemed corporeal melted as breath into the wind. We thought that they had corporal body, they had physical existence, but which seemed to vanish, seemed to melt in the air. Would they have stayed? So Macbeth makes a wish. Macbeth says that I wish they would have stayed. Banquo says, were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the risen prisoner? So is it true that they were present here, or we are drunk, or we have eaten the insane root, the root that causes madness, and we became temporarily mad to imagine that they were present. So have we eaten on the incense root that takes the risen prisoner? Macbeth says, your children shall be kings. So that is that thing. That point actually haunts Macbeth. That Banquo's children will become kings. And Banquo says, you shall be king. So uh, we are talking about my children, but before that we should talk about your chance of becoming the king. So you shall be king. Macbeth says, and Thane of Cawdor too. Went it not so? Did not they say that I shall become the Thane of Cawdor too? Banquo says to the self-same tune. Yes, they said that, and worse. Who is here? Now enter Ross and Angus. Now, um, they have come to greet Macbeth in advance. The king has sent them to usurp Macbeth and Banquo their way, because the king is eagerly waiting to meet his brave generals who have shown so much courage on the battlefield, and he wants to felicitate them. So Ross says, the king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. The king has come to know about your success in the battlefield. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, he wonders, and his praises do contend, which should be thine or his. So the king is now waiting to give you something, some reward. And what is that reward? Just come to line number 104. And Ross says, and for an earnest of a greater honor, he bade me from him call the Thane of Cawdor. So, in advance, he has told me to greet you as the Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine. So, the first prophecy of the witches is fulfilled this very moment. So, what will a person think? The person will think that if one prophecy is fulfilled, then the other is bound to be fulfilled. That I will become the king hereafter. So the witches knew that if they give a prophecy which is fulfilled in recent times, there is the possibility of trapping Macbeth, tempting Macbeth with a greater possibility, which was going to come later. But interestingly, the witches do not show Macbeth the way. They did not tell him that you have to murder the king in order to become a king. So it is up to Macbeth what he will do. Now, Banquo says, what? Can the devil speak true? So the devil, the instruments of evil, that is, devil means the father of all evil. So these witches are instruments of evil. They are the product of the devil. So can the devil speak true? So that has the devil spoken the truth from their lips? Macbeth says, the Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes? Macbeth says, I know that the Thane of Cawdor is still alive. So why are you giving me his title? And now this borrowed robe, the clothing imagery is very important in Macbeth. Borrowed robe, just as we cannot fit ourselves in the clothing, in the dress of somebody else, similarly, Macbeth feels that the title of Thane of Cawdor does not fit him, because it's a borrowed robe. Later on, Macbeth will also wear the borrowed robe of the king. So, why do you dress me in borrowed robes? Angus says, who was the Thane lives yet. Yes, the Thane of Cawdor is still alive, but under heavy judgment bears that life which deserves to lose. Now he is going to be punished with his life. He is going to be executed. So under heavy judgment bears that life with which he deserved to lose. Whether he has combined with those of Norway or did line the rebel with the hidden help or vantage, or that with both he labored in his country's wrack, I know not. But treason's capital, confessed and proved, has overthrown him. So why is the title of Thane of Cawdor being given to Macbeth? Because the Thane of Cawdor still lives, but he is under severe judgment because of acting as a traitor, because of uh, because of providing the king of Norway with help and advantage, and also combining with him in the uh, ruin of his own country. So he is a traitor and capital treason, that is uh, treachery of a first magnitude. He is being charged of a treachery of a first magnitude, and that capital treason is going to have him executed. So at least now we know that he is overthrown. He is no more the Thane of Cawdor, and the title is being given to Macbeth as a reward for his bravery in the battlefield. And Macbeth now comes aside. Aside is a convention in which a character speaks to himself or to somebody else on the stage, which other characters on the stage cannot hear, but the audience present there can conventionally hear to that. So aside is used to reveal the inner mind of a person, of a character. So Macbeth is here addressing the audience or speaking as if speaking alone or to the audience, but others present on the stage cannot hear to that. That is the convention of the aside. So Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. So I was Thane of Glamis. Now I have become the Thane of Cawdor, and the greatest is behind. Greatest, that means to be the king. To Ross and Angus, thanks for your pains. To Banquo, do you not hope your children shall be kings? Now just look at the beautiful use of language, beautiful use of the character analysis in Shakespeare. That thing, that prophecy that is made to Banquo haunts Macbeth's mind again and again. Do you not hope your children shall be kings? When those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them? Banquo says that trusted home might yet enkindle you unto the crown, besides the Thane of Cawdor. If we take that to be true, that my future generation will become kings, then that may excite you to the crown, to become the king, besides being the Thane of Cawdor. And then comes a vital unintentional prophecy from the mouth of Banquo. This is called dramatic irony. Something that is spoken by a character which at the point of speaking he himself even doesn't know to become true in future. Okay, so this is an unconscious prophecy, and it's the dramatic irony which will prove to be true later as the action proceeds. So Banquo says, but it is strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths. So often what we find very good and fair for the time being actually are told to us to win us to our harm, to excite us to do wrong things, show the instruments of darkness. Banco addresses the witches as the instruments of darkness. They are the evil ministers. They are the messengers of devil. So they are the instruments of darkness, the dark powers that always lurk in the background to capture the human heart. So the prophecies which seem to be so good at this moment may be that the cause of our harm, cause of our trouble in future. It is strange and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles. They win us, they tempt us, they uh, bring themselves into our confidence with honest trifles, little things that come true, to betray us in deeper consequences, to have to wound us with matters of greater consequences. That means uh, they have given us, they may have given us little rewards in order to tempt us and harm us in matters of deeper consequences, grave importance. So, cousin, a word I pray you. Now they are talking between themselves. That is, Banco and the other two, Ross and Angus, are talking among themselves. And Macbeth alone speaks in an aside. Two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act. So they are only prologues. They are the preludes, the beginnings of the swelling act, the climax of the drama. So, two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme, and that swelling act, that climax, includes the imperial theme, that is the theme of kingship. Macbeth is haunted. Macbeth is completely absorbed with the thought of being the king now. So the witches' prophecies have worked their way. Uh, they have succeeded to tempt Macbeth with the prospect of future happiness. But whether it will be happiness or a sorrow, suffering, that is yet to be revealed. So I thank you, gentlemen. And then, in an aside, Macbeth says something which betrays his inner mind. He says, "This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why hath it given me earnest of success? If they are evil, why have they given me the news of success in anticipation, commencing in a truth? I am thin of colour. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature?" So what is that? He says that if this supernatural soliciting, the news that is given by supernatural means, is good, then why a horrid image comes to my mind? Horrid image, the image of a murder. Why does it come to my mind? Terrible imagination that is revealing something dangerous, something fatal to happen in future. and that image unfix my hair, make my hair stand on my body, and unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs. So why my heart is throbbing so violently within my ribs against the use of nature, which is unusual, unnatural to my nature, because Macbeth is a brave man, but Macbeth is also an imaginative person. And the prophecies of the witches have already set or excited that imagination, that imaginative mind. And in that imagination or imaginative mind, the future horror has come as a foreboding. And Macbeth has already seen a horrid image. Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. So when we imagine a horror, the impact of that horror becomes greater than the present fears. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, sex show my single state of man, that function is mothered in surmise. So who has told you about murder? Did the witches tell Macbeth about anything regarding murder or the killing of the present king? No. So we can understand that the thought of murder was already in Macbeth's mind. The witches only worked as a catalyst to increase the pace of the reaction within Macbeth's mind. What is a catalyst? A catalyst is a reagent that quickens the pace of a reaction. And murder, the thought of murder was already in Macbeth's mind. He was thinking inside, or at least subconsciously, to murder the present king and become the king himself. And it was that thought, that evil thought, which was already within Macbeth's mind, was tempted by the prophecies of the witches. So, nobody told Macbeth that he has to murder the king in order to become the king himself. He even did not know about the witches before they met him. But the thought of murder has already come to his mind before even he met the witches. And from now on, his thought will be motivated to that end. So my thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, sex show my single state of man, that function is mothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not. Now I shall come to stop here. But before that, I want to tell you something about the Shakespearean logic, dramatic logic, a dramatic principle here. Now, I told you that in Renaissance plays, or in the Elizabethan plays, and in Shakespearean plays also, character is fate. Whereas in the classical plays, fate was character. It was fate that controlled the human lives. But in Renaissance plays, in the Elizabethan plays, the characters determine their fate. Their fates are not predetermined. So there may be witches to tempt him. There may be Lady Macbeth to instigate him, to excite him. But I mean to say that ultimately it is the fault of Macbeth himself, a tragic flaw within his character that takes him towards the path of damnation, that causes his downfall. So Macbeth is a drama of character. It is not a drama of fate. Here, Macbeth's hamartia His tragic flaw of overambition is what makes him overreach himself. He may be tempted to the path of damnation, but that damnation is brought upon himself by, brought upon him by himself, he himself. And this is the way Shakespeare looks at things. And that's why, just after the uh, meeting up with the witches, Macbeth has already started thinking of murder. He says that murder, which is yet but fantastical, upsets me now. So the thought of murder was there within his subconscious mind, which is brought to the conscious mind by the prophecies of the witches. And uh, so Macbeth cannot be seen as a victim here, only as a victim. He is a man who may be instigated, may be excited, or who may have uh, done certain things due to the situation in which he was, but that situation cannot be said to have done all to him whatever he has done or he will do later in this play. Also emanates from his character. So that's all for today. And now I shall give you a few minutes to clear your doubts if you have any. Thank you.